again. Better fill it up before I go. Cause I'm loving it, feeling it, touch me and being it. See what I see in it, I'm typical. Messing around with it, mix it up, go with it, fuck with it, flow with it, let it all go. Oh Lord, think you know what I'm like, but you don't fall, you lose control. Bittersweet melody when I dance on your fly. Cause I know what you don't, it is me you adore. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken up. How sad. Oh boy, got so hot I forgot what I should have thought of before. Sure ain't easy for you to let go of the rules, cause that's so much fun. Are you loving the feeling it? Touch me, are you in it? Don't see what you're seeing, but typical. Messing around with it, mix it up, go with it, fuck with it, flow with it, please let it go. Oh no, think I did it again. I said a few things that I shouldn't have done. Well, bittersweet melody when I dance on your fly. Cause I know what you don't, it is me you adore. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken up. How sad. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken up. Now come alive with me and quit the jealousy. I know you're bored, I know it's boring me. Now come alive, baby, get out the grave and live. I know you're bored. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken up. How sad. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken up. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken up. How sad. Oh no, that is what they all say when they see me pouring some more. Oh, then gets empty again. Better fill it up before I go. Cause I'm loving it, feeling it, touch me and being it. See what I see in it, I'm typical. Messing around with it, mix it up, go with it, fuck with it, flow with it, let it all go. Oh Lord, think you know what I'm like, but you don't fall, you lose control. Bittersweet melody when I dance on your fly. Cause I know what you don't, it is me you adore. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken up. How sad. Oh boy, got so hot I forgot what I should have thought of before. Sure ain't easy for you to let go of the rules, cause that's so much fun. Are you loving the feeling it? Touch me, are you in it? Don't see what you're seeing, but typical. Messing around with it, mix it up, go with it, fuck with it, flow with it, please let it go. Oh no, think I did it again. I said a few things that I shouldn't have done. Well, bittersweet melody when I dance on your fly. Cause I know when they see me pouring some more. Oh, then gets empty again. Better fill it up before I go. Cause I'm loving it, feeling it, touch me and being it. See what I see in it, I'm typical. Messing around with it, mix it up, go with it, fuck with it, flow with it, let it all go. Oh Lord, think you know what I'm like, but you don't fall, you lose control. Bittersweet melody when I dance on your floor. Cause I know what you don't, it is me you adore. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken up and how sad. Oh boy, got so hot I forgot what I should have thought of before. Sure ain't easy for you to let off the rules, cause that's so much fun. Are you loving the feeling it? Touch me, are you in it? Don't see what you're seeing, but typical. Messing around with it, mix it up, go with it, fuck with it, flow with it, please let it go. Oh no, think I did it again. I said a few things that I shouldn't have done. Well, bittersweet melody when I dance on your floor. Cause I know what you don't, it is me you adore. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken up and how sad. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken up and now come alive with me and quit the jealousy. I know you're bored, I know it's boring me. Now come alive, baby, get out the grave and live. I know you're bored. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken up and how sad. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken up and how does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken up and how sad. Oh no, that is what they all say when they see me pouring some more. Oh, then gets empty again. Better fill it up before I go. Cause I'm loving it, feeling it, touch me and being it. See what I see in it, I'm typical. Messing around with it, mix it up, go with it, fuck with it, flow with it, let it all go. Oh Lord, think you know what I'm like, but you don't fall, you lose control. Bittersweet melody when I dance on your floor. Cause I know what you don't, it is me you adore. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken up and how sad. Oh boy, got so hot I forgot what I should have thought of before. Sure ain't easy for you to let off the rules, cause that's so much fun. Are you loving the feeling it? Touch me, are you in it? Don't see what you're seeing, but typical. Messing around with it, mix it up, go with it, fuck with it, flow with it, please let it go. Oh no, think I did it again. I said a few things that I shouldn't have done. Well, bittersweet How sad. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken up bed. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken up bed. How sad. Oh no, that is what they all say when they see me pouring some wine. Oh, think it's empty again. Better fill it up before I go. Cause I'm loving it, feeling it, touch me and being it. See what I see in it, I'm typical. Messing around with it, mix it up, go with it, fuck with it, flow with it, let it all go. Oh Lord, think you know what I'm like, but you don't fall, you lose control. Bittersweet melody when I dance on your fly. Cause I know what you don't, it is me you adore. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken up bed. How sad. Oh boy, got so hot I forgot what I should have thought of before. Sure ain't easy for you to let off the rules, cause that's so much fun. Are you loving the feeling it? Touch me, are you in it? Don't see what you see, but typical. Messing around with it, mix it up, go with it, fuck with it, flow with it, please let it go. Oh no, think I did it again. I said a few things that I shouldn't have done. Well, bittersweet melody when I dance on your fly. Cause I know what you don't, it is me you adore. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken up bed. How sad. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken up bed. Now come alive with me and quit the jealousy. I know you're bored, I know it's boring me. Now come alive, baby, get out the grave and live. I know you're bored. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken up bed. How sad. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken up bed. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken up bed. How sad. Oh no, that is what they all say when they see me pouring some wine. Oh, think it's empty again. Better fill it up before I go. Cause I'm loving it, feeling it, touch me and being it. See what I see in it, I'm typical. Messing around with it, mix it up, go with it, fuck with it, flow with it, let it all go. Oh Lord, think you know what I'm like, but you don't fall, you lose control. Bittersweet melody when I dance on your fly. Cause I know what you don't, it is me you adore. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? got so hot I forgot what I should have thought of before. Sure ain't easy for you to let off the rules, cause that's so much fun. Are you loving the feeling it? Push me, are you in it? Don't say what you see, but typical. Messing around with it, mix it up, go with it, fuck with it, flow with it, please let it go. Oh no, babe, I did it again. I said a few things that I shouldn't have done. Well, bittersweet melody when I dance on your flight, cause I know what you don't. It is me you adore. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They've never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken, I bet. How sad. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They've never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken, I bet. Now come alive with me and quit the jealousy. I know you're bored, I know it's boring me. Now come alive, baby, get out the grave with me. I know you're bored. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They've never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken, I bet. How sad. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They've never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken, I bet. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They've never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken, I bet. How sad. Oh no, that is what they all say when they see me pouring some oil. Oh, think it's empty again. Better fill it up before I go. Cause I'm loving it, feeling it, touch me and being it. See what I see in it, I'm typical. Messing around with it, mix it up, go with it, fuck with it, flow with it, let it all go. Oh Lord, think you know what I'm like, but you don't fall, you lose control. Bittersweet melody when I dance on your flight, cause I know what you don't. It is me you adore. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They've never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken, I bet. How sad. Oh boy, got so hot I forgot what I should have thought of before. Sure ain't easy for you to let off the rules, cause that's so much fun. Are you loving the feeling it? Push me, are you in it? Don't say what you see, but typical. Messing around with it, mix it up, go with it, fuck with it, flow with it, please let it go. Oh no, babe, I did it again. I said a few things that I shouldn't have done. Well, bittersweet feel to breathe when you're dead. They never seen you out of your head. Cut to the bone, it's broken up, but how sad. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your head. Cut to the bone, it's broken up, but how does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your head. Cut to the bone, it's broken up, but how sad. Oh no, that is what they all say when they see me pouring some oil. Oh, we think it's empty again. Better fill it up before I go. Cause I'm loving it, feeling it, touch me and being it. See what I see in it, I'm typical. Messing around with it, mix it up, go with it, fuck with it, flow with it, let it all go. Oh Lord, think you know what I'm like, but you don't fall, you lose control. Bittersweet melody when I dance on your flight. Cause I know what you don't, it is me you adore. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your head. Cut to the bone, it's broken up, and how sad. Oh boy, got so hot I forgot what I should have thought of before. Sure ain't easy for you to let off the rules, cause that's so much fun. Are you loving the feeling that touch me? Are you in it? Don't see what you see, but typical. Messing around with it, mix it up, go with it, fuck with it, flow with it, please let it go. Oh no, think I did it again. I said a few things that I shouldn't have done. Well, bittersweet melody when I dance on your flight. Cause I know what you don't, it is me you adore. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your head. Cut to the bone, it's broken up, but how sad. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your head. Cut to the bone, it's broken up, but now come alive with me and quit the jealousy. I know you're bored, I know it's boring me. Now come alive, baby, get out the grave and live. I know you're bored. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your head. Cut to the bone, it's broken up, but how sad. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your head. Cut to the bone, it's broken up, but how does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your head. Cut to the bone, it's broken up, but how sad. Oh no, that is what they all say when they see me pouring some oil. Oh, we think it's empty again. Better fill it up before I go. Cause I'm loving it, feeling it, touch me and being it. See what I see in it, I'm typical. Messing around with it, mix it up, go with it, fuck with it, flow with it, let it all go. Oh Lord, think you know what I'm like, but you don't fall, you lose control. Bittersweet melody when I dance on your flight. Cause I know what got so hot, I forgot what I should have thought of before. Sure ain't easy.
What are you willing to lose? You cover your wounds, but underneath them, a million voices in your head that whisper, stop now. Another twist of the knife, a turn of the screws, it's all in your mind, and it's fighting you on yourself. The storm is coming. Well, kid, what you gonna do now? It's your reflection looking back to pull you down. So are you gonna die today or make it out alive? You gotta conquer the monster in your head and then you'll fly, fly, phoenix fly. It's time for a new empire. Go bury your demons, then tear down the ceiling, phoenix matches come out of the ashes underneath you. A million voices in the crowd, they're screaming, stop now. Well, let them swallow the pride. You're turning the tide. The true believers got them in the palm of your hand. You're playing God now. What you gonna do now? It's your reflection looking back to pull you down. So are you gonna die today or make it out alive? You gotta conquer the monster in your head and then you'll fly, fly, phoenix fly. It's time for a new empire. Go bury your demons, then tear down the ceiling, phoenix So are you gonna die today or make it out alive? You gotta conquer the monster in your head and then you'll fly, fly, phoenix fly. It's time for a new empire. Go bury your demons, then tear down the ceiling, phoenix fly. When you feel it's hopeless, when you think that you lost, oh, I will take your hand and we'll rise up from the dust. Oh, here we go, 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 let us heal and grow. You won't be alone, we're unstoppable. Don't be afraid to show what we're going for. This is what we know. Here we come back to life, we're still breathing. Standing up, everybody's gonna see it. Oh, all you need to know is that we're holding on. Even if we fall, we will rise up and we follow the path that we believe in. No, we're not gonna stop until we reach it. Oh, all you need to know is that we're holding on. We rise up from the dust and claim our throne. empty hearts and neon lights. They're playing with my mind. Gotta get out of here tonight. Oh, I wanna run off and fly. And I'll tell myself it's fine to be alone, just to find somewhere that finally feels like home. Oh, oh, oh. I hate all this overthinking. Oh, 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 oh. The more Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it rain. Tonight we gonna let it rain. Tonight we gonna let it rain. Just like the sunrise, we gonna let it rain. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it rain. Tonight we gonna let it rain. Tonight we gonna let it rain. Just like the sunrise, we gonna let it rain. Run free and dive into the sky. Hear the wind crying out its prayer. Why are we so ashamed to be alive? Break the chains and our freedom's ours to take. Look behind your back. Chase a light when the world is getting darker. I have a dream where love's the only side. So take my hand, join the army of the shadows. Going harder, we are more than numbers. Standing in this hate. Going louder, we are all one color. Standing in their way. let me go, to let it flow. I'm falling down. Your waves are pulling me under. I drown to the sound of thunder. The ocean is taking another life. Your waves are pulling me under. We all know what makes us suffer. The ocean is taking another life. I'm caught in your riptide. changes around like an ocean in my head. I can almost feel you walking in the distance, but I know that it's not reality. If you are echoing around inside these parallel dimensions all alone, know I'll find you in my dreams. I can almost feel you walking in the distance, but I know that it's not reality. Don't say a word. I've heard before, I'm getting my nerve to win this fight, 'cause the end's inside now. They integrated me, ooh. Think that I'm playing the fool. Honey, I'll hold down. I wish you well, and I won't be back now. Well, you can go and hate me, but I just fell in love with all this freedom that I found. Saying I've been different lately. Think I should let you know that I am not your baby. Lines are blurred. I love it when you call me absurd. Got yourself to blame, causing all this pain. So they integrated me, ooh. Think that I'm playing the fool. Honey, I'll hold out. I wish you well, and I won't be back now. Well, you can go and hate me, but I just fell in love with all this freedom that I found. Saying I've been different lately. Think I should let you know that I am not your baby now. Nobody said it'd be easy, but we took a train to the ceiling. And now I own all of my feelings. Don't wake me up from the stream. I bought a one-way ticket to space. Let's get out of here. I heard you, but it's nice this time of year. Out in the wild, find a Eden. Let's stay a while, never leaving. Sound me alarm in my heart. here where anything happens. Sound the alarm in my heart. We're taking off. Sound the alarm in my heart. We're taking off. Don't let go, I want your body around, all around, all around. Sound the alarm in my heart. We're taking off. Taking off. Taking off. Taking off. Tonight, I'd lie for you, baby. Honestly, you got it right this time. Nothing is out of line. You know I'm wasted thinking about it. You got it right this time. Nothing is out of line. You know I'm wasted thinking about it. Tonight, I'd lie for you, baby. Honestly,
Yeah. Unknown Brain. Marvin Divine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
I know that I gotta stay away from all your games, and I know that I found somebody else to love me today. You'll realize the grass ain't greener on the other side. No, you did me dirty for the last time, so now I gotta say goodbye.
Yeah, my life is lovely now, I'm focused on me. You said you were about to die, I guess the car is on E. But see, I ain't even tripping, cause I just chose to believe that somebody gon' come around and give me just what I need. I don't wanna see you frowning, see you looking down and out. Coming to me crying, saying you miss having me around. Gave you chances and you blew it, you so easily influenced. All the times you told me beat it, now you gotta face the music, I'm saying.
I know that I gotta stay away from all your games, and I know that I found somebody else to love me one day. You'll realize the grass ain't greener on the other side. No, you did me dirty the last time, so now I gotta say goodbye. So now I gotta say over your skin, you can see it beat, intoxicating your energy. First time in so long you felt the heat, evaporating your bindings. Move like the sunlight, darkness can't hold you here. Golden bright, push through the atmosphere. This is your dawn, this is your break. Move like the, move like the, move like the sunlight. Darkness can't hold you here. Golden bright, push through the atmosphere. This is your dawn, this is your break. Move like the, move like the. I know the sadness that cripples you. It comes in waves and out of the blue. But there are days you feel freedom too. Bask in the glorious lightning. Move like the sunlight. Darkness can't hold you here. Golden bright, push through the atmosphere. This is your dawn, this is your break. Move like the, move like the, move like the sunlight. Darkness can't hold you here. Golden bright, push through the atmosphere. This is your dawn, this is your break. Friday, downtown Avenue Way. I didn't know that you were gonna be my getaway. I swear I never learned, can't live without the burn. So I light it up and feel the rest. It's how you wanna be remembered. Feeling blue on side streets, cold like December. Is this what you came so far for? I don't know you're worth more. So why don't we go and leave the city and drive past concrete? And I know it's so pretty, but I can't do it no more. So why don't we go and leave the city and drive past concrete? And I know it's so pretty, but I can't do it no more. Why don't we go Is this how you wanna be remembered? Feeling blue on side streets, cold like December. Is this what you came so far for? I don't know you're worth more. So why don't we go and leave the city and drive past concrete? And I know it's so pretty, but I can't do it no more. So why don't we go and leave the city and drive past concrete? And I know it's so pretty, but I can't do it no more. Why don't we go
Welcome to r/entitled parents, where an entitled mother demands that her delivery driver tip her for delivering her food. So first of all, I have a pretty major update to a story I posted in an earlier video. If you haven't watched r/entitled parents, give me your baby or I'll sue you, then I strongly recommend you go watch that video and then come back to this one. But if you did watch the video, here's a quick refresher. OP was nursing her infant in a coffee shop when a lady came up and literally tried to take her baby because her daughter wanted to play with it. OP punches the entitled lady in the face, which leads to the cops showing up and eventually entitled parent trying to sue OP for PTSD and emotional damages because she showed her boob. The OP, Body by Art, has posted an incredible update. Scene: this chapter opens April 15, 2019, approximately 9:30 a.m. We are at our local courthouse. Me and my husband have dropped off my baby at his mother's. I had considered bringing her and breastfeeding while entitled mother was on the stand just to irritate her, but I didn't think an 8-month-old would be able to sit quietly for that long. Instead, I brought my 384-month-old husband. We went to the courthouse, and I will admit, I was nervous. We took our seats behind the prosecutor, and we were chatting with her. Entitled mom enters with her lawyer, and if looks could kill, I would be dead. The judge and jury enter, and we are ready to get started. As we are getting started, the judge is interrupted by entitled dad and entitled kid entering the courtroom in possibly the noisiest way to enter a room. Disclaimer, these were 3 very long, very stressful days, so I will be paraphrasing a lot. The judge says, "Entitled mother, you are charged with attempted kidnapping, first-degree assault, disturbing the peace, and disorderly conduct. How do you plead?" Your Honor, I am 100% innocent. In fact, I am outraged that I stand accused of wrongdoing. I am a proud American and the biggest supporter of these proud, fair, and just. The judge, looking already done with her nonsense, "Please sit down." The entitled mother, shocked. "But..." "Now," she sits. "We will now proceed to opening statements. Prosecutor?" The prosecutor lays out the case, succinctly explaining that entitled mother was a dangerous woman who attempted to rip a small baby from its mother's arms. The entitled mother screams, "No, no, no, that isn't true." Entitled lawyer, "Tell entitled mother to be quiet." Prosecutor, continue. The prosecutor says there is clear, indisputable evidence that entitled mother is guilty on all counts. The prosecutor wraps up his opening statement in under about 5 minutes, explaining that the whole situation was caught on tape and that the evidence will speak for itself. The defense's opening statement was about 40 minutes long. He gave this creature's whole life story. She couldn't possibly be guilty. She was your typical suburban soccer mom, president of her HOA, active in her church, blah blah blah. Apparently, because the statements established character, they weren't off topic enough to make the judge tell entitled lawyer to shut up and sit down. Entitled lawyer talked so long that after they concluded, the judge dismissed for the day. We come back the second day, and before the trial starts, my husband goes and grabs us a cup of pure caffeine from a booth in the courthouse. He's putting his cream and sugar in it when entitled dad approaches. "Hey man, how are you doing?" My husband says, "Fine." "This whole mess is crazy." "Yup." "Look man, what will happen to my daughter if her mom goes to jail? It's not good for a kid." "Yeah, that's rough, sorry." "Well, you could tell your wife to drop the charges. You know, do what's best for the kids." "Yeah, I'm not gonna do that." "Come on, man, be reasonable." "If your wife was reasonable, we wouldn't even be here." "F you, N-word." "Get out of here, man." And my husband walks away. The second day of court starts. Prosecution lays out the evidence, including the tape, calls witnesses, and all that prosecution stuff. When the prosecution calls witnesses, the defense also gets to ask them questions. They were trying to cast doubt on all of the witnesses, I guess to make it seem like it was all a witch hunt against entitled mom. Finally, it was my turn to testify and be questioned. I told my story for the prosecution, then this foolishness ensued. The entitled lawyer says, "It seems like you were the first to raise your voice. Would you say that is accurate?" "I suppose so." "So that would make you the instigator." "I don't think..." The entitled lawyer cuts me off. "You claim that entitled mother assaulted you." "Yes." "Did entitled mother strike you at any point during this altercation?" "Well, not exactly strike." "Did you strike entitled mother at any point?" "Yes, but it was to..." The jury will notice that this woman has admitted to not only being the instigator, but also the aggressor in this situation. After the prosecution lays out their evidence, it's the defense's turn. It is at this point that entitled mother takes the stand. Entitled mother tells her twisted version of events. According to her, her daughter had seen my baby and had approached me to tell me how beautiful baby was. In response to this totally innocent interaction, OP began verbally abusing entitled kid. She attempted to calm OP, but this backfired when I violently snatched up baby. She couldn't help but notice that it was very unlikely that baby was OP's. Seeing an unstable woman snatching up an innocent, probably kidnapped baby, entitled mom just had to intervene. When she did, I viciously attacked her. So day 3 is verdict and sentencing. On the charge of attempted kidnapping, the jury decided that there was not enough evidence to conclude that she wanted to kidnap baby, not guilty. On the charge of assault, the jury was not convinced by her lawyer's attempts to demonize me, guilty. Disturbing the peace and disorderly conduct, the tapes and witnesses led to a guilty verdict. Now we get to the part you all have been waiting for: sentencing. Entitled Mom was sentenced to 18 months of probation, 40 hours of community service, 30 hours of anger management, and $730 in fines. This all goes on her criminal record, and if she violates her probation or does not do what is required, she will spend those 18 months in prison. While I know many of us were hoping for jail time, I am satisfied with this outcome, and I think it is fair. We left feeling pretty good. We have to go back to court in a few months for the civil case. If you want to find out the results of the civil case in which Entitled Mother tries to sue OP, then be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to turn on notifications to catch the epic conclusion of this entitled parent's story. Our next post is from That Texas Kid. On mobile, so if things go wonky, my attorney is accepting calls. After never dealing with an entitled parent in my life, I've now had 2 in the span of a few months. Normally a foul mouth, but I'll keep things clean for r/ and others. I appreciate it, OP. So I am a delivery driver for a major food delivery company in a major college town in Texas where everyone loves maroon. Normally, it's not that bad. Pays pretty well, and customers are generally fine, though you'll always have idiots in every service job. This, however, surpassed anything I'd ever experienced before. I get an order alert on my phone, relatively simple but expensive order. We drivers love expensive orders from a restaurant nearby. In the portion for delivery instructions, the customer explains that I need to call her once I arrive, as ringing the doorbell, as I normally do, would disturb her autistic son. Okay, no problem at all. I received therapy for sensory issues when I was a kid, so I'm going to be even more sympathetic to that than the average person. I receive the order and drive over to the house, nice part of town, and give the customer a call. Younger woman answers, tells me to come up to the door. I do so and enter the entitled mom, who, strangely, was fairly attractive and did not have the typical Karen haircut. Here's your order, ma'am. Is there anything else I can help you with today? Yes, my son is autistic and people like you don't understand how difficult it is to raise him. I shouldn't have to pay this much for food. Can you give me a discount? Me, baffled. I'm sorry, ma'am, but the app calculates your order total, not me. It's already been paid for. The entitled mom did not like that answer. Her face changed from a smug smirk into a snarl. I suppose I didn't realize how ridiculous the idea that people pay for their own food is. Well, why don't you pay for it then? I'm not sure if you heard, but my son is autistic and it's your fault that he's still hungry. I'm sorry, ma'am, but that goes against our policy. If I paid for your order, I'd probably be fired. Good. You're a useless driver anyway. You're disgusting. My son is starving to death. Since I've had to go through so much trouble with you, you should tip me. My app has a setting that while you're in the process of taking an order to a customer, they'll assign you another one at the same time if there's activity. Thankfully, this saved me here. Can't do that, ma'am. Here's your order. I dropped the food gently on the ground between us and jogged back to my car. She was shouting something unintelligible. So much for not disturbing her autistic son, but I couldn't make out what she was saying. Unsurprisingly, she gave me a 1-star review. You tip online, so I got a small tip. I contacted support about it the next day. Yeah, I had a crazy lady yesterday. Started demanding that I pay for her order, and even that I tip her. Really rude. Not sure what the deal was. Oh, I knew what the deal was. That's why I'm here. The nice support lady said, which order was it? It was such and such order number at such and such address. Yikes, you're the 3rd person to complain about her. 1 or 2 we take with a grain of salt, but 3 you're probably out. I'll try to get her deactivated. If so, her review will be off your record. Thanks, appreciate it. I feel like the entire world is better off now that she won't get deliveries from us anymore. But was the cost worth it? That remains to be seen. The thing I'm most concerned about with this story is that the Karen wasn't using a Karen haircut. That means they're getting smarter. They're evolving. Our next story is from Sarah L. Whiteman. So, my sister and her husband flew up to come visit the family in Canada and introduce their newborn daughter to everyone over the Easter weekend. It wasn't a long visit, and they went to the airport this morning to check in for their flight. My train back to my apartment didn't leave for another 3 hours, so I tagged along to help with stroller and bags. Basically, I was an extra pair of hands so they could focus more on the baby instead of trying to juggle bags and everything. So we're standing in line. There was an issue at the check-in kiosk, and I feel my rolling weekend bag get extremely heavy all of a sudden, to the point where it almost yanks right out of my grip. I turn around and there's a girl, anywhere from 7 to 10 years old, sitting on my bag. Excuse me, please get off my bag. My feet hurt and I want to sit down. She then bounced in place and actually yanked the bag handle out of my grip, causing both it and Entitled Kid to fall to the ground. Don't drop my child like that. She was sitting on my bag and yanked it out of my grip. It's barely 6:30 a.m. at this point, and I had zero patience for this stupidity. So I just hold my bag in my hand out of the way for Entitled Kid to sit on. My niece starts getting fussy, as young babies will, and my brother-in-law jogs off to go grab a bottle of water to make her a bottle. They thought they would be through security at this point, so they weren't prepared to make her a bottle. No big deal. I tell my sister to take care of her baby and I'll manage the bags. Behind me, Entitled Kid was just getting started. Mommy, my feet hurt and I want to sit. I kid you not, this kid dragged out her words exactly like this. Hang on, sweetie. My sister was adjusting the baby in the stroller in an attempt to calm her down, but from behind her, it looked like she was taking the baby out. See, she's taking the baby out of the stroller. Go sit there. My sister hears this and she just about loses her mind. No, she can't sit here. You're taking the kid out. She can sit there. No, I'm not, and no, she can't. She's a grown child. She can stand like the rest of us. Her feet hurt. Take your brat out of the stroller and let her sit there. My sister gets this look on her face that I know very well. It pretty much promises that she's going to F up your day. OP, take the baby out of the stroller, please. My husband should be here with the water for her bottle in a minute. I got confused, but I trust her and take the baby out of the stroller. Entitled Mom gets this look of absolute triumph, only for it to drop off her face as my sister then grabs my weekend bag and the diaper bag and put them right where the baby was sitting. Like I said, jerk, your child is grown and she can stand. My child is 9 weeks old. She can barely hold her own head up. You need to get some effing sense in your head. At this point in time, a check-in attendant has noticed my sister's situation with the baby who was still fussing and pulled her to the front of the line to get her through. Brother-in-law reappears right after that to help sort out bags while I feed the baby. I looked for Entitled Mom and Entitled Kid, and Entitled Kid was on the ground throwing a massive temper tantrum, worse than any tantrum I've seen in children half her age. Entitled Mom just looked like she was sucking on a lemon. So, while reading this story, who else thought that the mom was going to remove the baby from the stroller and then sit in the stroller herself? I was really hoping she did that, but nonetheless, it's still a pretty good ending. That was r/Entitled Parents, and remember, if you want to see the conclusion to the first story, be sure to subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications. Welcome to r/entitled parents, where an entitled mother actually tries to Welcome to r/entitled parents, where an entitled mommy demands that people make the Holocaust more child-friendly. So, I'm from Germany, and we have some NS museums in different places to remind us of the horror and inform visitors of what happened in the specific area of Germany they're visiting. I was visiting one when I heard a child cry. Not a baby that didn't know better, but a toddler. Sounded genuinely upset. Enter entitled mom. I hear her loudly complain about a video and how this isn't child-friendly at all. Now, first of all, in these museums, it's effing quiet. Second of all, they are not supposed to be child-friendly. They show raw, horrible pictures that show a brutal truth, and most adults are left speechless. It can turn your stomach sometimes. The employee said, "I'm really sorry it upset her. This museum is suggested for ages 14 and up." How is she supposed to learn? Now, the kid was 3 max. You can maybe talk to them about it, but these museums are clearly not for kids. It even says so on the website. Now, I'm already invested in this when mom goes on about how they should have censored that. I turn around to see what they're talking about and my heart sinks. It's a video of piles of dead, starved, naked bodies they found in concentration camps. It's a horrifying thing to look at. And this lady complained about some genitalia being shown? I'm pretty sure the kid was crying about the overall visual and not some dicks. The employee looks shocked, and she has clearly never heard that complaint before. She confusedly offered to refund their tickets, and the lady angrily agreed. Some people. Clearly, what the Holocaust Museum should have done was gone back and put smiley face emojis over all of the sad, dying prisoners to make it more child-friendly. 5 years ago, my husband and I bought a house. We'd been saving for years for the down payment, and the stars must have aligned for us to get it. Everything worked out perfectly. The house was a major fixer-upper, but it had land, and we were happy with that. Turns out, brother-in-law had looked at the house when it was listed as well. They decided it was too much work to fix up and not worth it. They wanted major upgrades too, whereas my husband and I are very simple people. We don't need granite countertops or a soaking tub or hardwood throughout. Met up with a family recently, and the brother-in-law was talking about how cramped their condo has become with 2 kids now. Brother-in-law decided this was the time to tell us that we should trade houses. I kid you not. Brother-in-law is very, very entitled. Brother-in-law proceeded to argue that we are only 2 people and their family is growing and could use the space. Literally suggested that we give ours to him and buy out his condo. I laughed. I knew he was serious, but I couldn't help but laugh. I'd never in my life imagined someone could be so freaking entitled that they demand someone give up their home for the sake of another family. Are you kidding me? Brother-in-law then got mad at me for not even considering it and began justifying all the reasons his family needed our house more. Oh, you think this would be the worst part, right? Nope, it gets better. We never finished the basement, so there was only 1 bathroom in the house. Brother-in-law informed me that if we were to trade houses that we would need to make some major upgrades first because he wouldn't have time to be able to make any renovations. He was somehow inexplicably certain that I would see the logic in his plan and just trade houses with them because they needed the extra space so much more. And now my brother-in-law isn't talking to me because I laughed through the whole thing and wouldn't take him seriously. Win-win. Go ahead, punish me by not talking to me. At least then you'll stop trying to make me the bad guy because I have 2 spare rooms I don't use. My husband and I each have an office. And tell everyone how horrible I am because I wouldn't buy out your condo at market value while giving you ours out of the goodness of our hearts. Last I know, he was now trying to tell my father-in-law to retire and move into the city so that they could have the farm. Joke's on him. Father-in-law already talked about it and has left the farm to me and my husband in his will because we actually farm and brother-in-law thinks it's too much work. I always thought the internet exaggerated that people like this exist. I thought situations like this couldn't possibly be real. What the heck are these people thinking? On that note, this YouTube channel has become way too much work and I'd like to trade with a smaller YouTuber. So let me know if you've got under 1,000 subscribers. I'll give you this channel and in exchange I'll buy your channel for $100,000. Let me know if you're interested. Some context backstory. I still live in my parents' house since my university is really close, so I don't need to get myself an apartment. The story happened about a year ago. The story. On a beautiful Sunday morning, I got woken up by my mother telling me that she has invited my aunt with her kids for lunch. Now, to be honest, I never liked that particular aunt that much, but what can you do? So, about 2 hours later, the family come over. We have our lunch, and afterwards we sit around in the living room and chat about. At some point, I noticed from the corner of my eye one of my aunt's kids going to my room. Now, I had my computer open, and I was a bit afraid that he might do something to it, so I followed him. Now, that kid was about 8 at the time, and he should in no way be allowed to play violent video games. And me, being an avid gamer, most, if not all of the games I had installed were rated as PEGI 18, meaning they were to be played by people over 18. The conversation went like this. Do you have any games? I do, but they are not for you. These are grown-up games. But I want to play! I'm sorry, but you cannot. At this point, the kid runs out of the room and to his mom. OP does not let me play games. The entitled mother says to me, come on, let him play some games. He has nothing else to do. The games that I have on my computer are not for his age. They are violent and disturbing at times. But my little boy wants to play. Can't you let him play? I'm sorry, but these games are not for your child. Excuse me, we are guests and you have to do what we say. Just let him play. At this point, I've gotten really angry and in hindsight, I should have just opened a Flash Games website and let him play. But this computer was my most prized possession, having built it myself with mostly my own money. And I would not let an 8-year-old play freely with it because I was afraid that he could damage it. Also, my malicious compliance side came out at that moment, so I did not pass the chance for some good old malicious compliance. I say okay to both mom and child and take the kid with me. I open Outlast. For those who don't know, Outlast is a horror game with many disturbing images and scary scenes, especially for an 8-year-old child, and let him play. Not even 5 minutes in, I hear a scream from my room and I hear entitled kid run crying to his mother. What the heck did you make him play? What's wrong with you? I told you before, my games are not for young children, they are for adults. But you wouldn't listen. The mom straight up picked up her children, one still crying, and left the house. After I told my mom exactly what I did, she burst out laughing. Learn to listen to people when they warn you. Let me start by saying I'm 36 weeks pregnant, and it's very obvious I'm pregnant. I'm huge, massive, uncomfortable. Currently in my local chain coffee shop, sitting now with my effing cup of coffee that had to be remade because some random grandmother decided that as I'm pregnant, I shouldn't be allowed to have caffeine. Full story. I've ordered the coffee, just a grande cold brew, nothing crazy, and I'm standing at the end of the counter waiting. The barista calls my name and drink order. I go to take it. This grandma says, "You can't have that." I didn't know she was talking to me, so I continue to reach for my cup. "You can't have that, you're pregnant." It's one cup, it's fine. "No, you can't have it, you're not allowed." She takes the cup from my hand and drops it full into the trash next to the counter. You cannot be serious. It's fine. My doctor even says it's fine. I looked at the barista, who is just standing there, mouth agape. She lets me know she'll make me another. Please, leave me alone. I'm tired and want my coffee. I get 1 cup a day. This is it. Please go away. The grandmother, banshee screaming at this point, "No,
You can't have it. You're pregnant. It will make you have the baby now. You can't do it. I won't let my daughter do it either. But she drinks it anyway, and if I can't save her, I'll save you instead.
I don't think she breathed during this at all. Also, what? Save me? Me looking around for help because I'm not good at confrontation and she's making me panic. Please stop. Looking at barista, pleading for help with my every thought. I'll just take that directly when you're done. The barista hands me my cup directly, and this insane woman goes to take it from me again. So I yelled for her to stop trying to come near me. I literally, loudly, and even now have a bit of a shake from doing it, shouted, "Please leave me alone. You're making me uncomfortable and I don't want you this close." She stopped, did this fish mouth gaping thing, went, "Ugh, fine," and left. The barista gave me a drink coupon and apologized for the stress, but goodness, how can someone think that's okay? So a pregnant lady drinking coffee is unthinkable, but harassing and stealing from a pregnant lady is perfectly fine. So after all this time reading these stories and saying to myself, this can't be real. It actually happened to me today. Background, I'm a high school culinary arts teacher. Rewind to Friday. The following exchange happens in my third hour class. The student says, "Miss, why are you giving me an F?" "Because you turned in 3 out of 27 assignments." "But miss, I got a game this weekend and now you made me ineligible." "Sorry to hear that. Maybe turn in some work?" "Can't I just go wash some dishes or something?" "No." Kid stomps off. Now, that is a common exchange for a teacher during sports season. I thought nothing of it. Until this morning. I checked my email and saw this subject. "Concern about entitled kid's grade." The original email was nice enough. Why is entitled kid failing, etc. So I emailed back entitled parents with the same response I gave entitled kid. And then stuff got real. I received a series of emails from entitled parent. Basically, "How dare you? Don't you know who he is? The basketball team needs him. Change his grade right now." I emailed back, "No, I can set a meeting with coach and principal if you like." "No, you're just the cooking teacher. Do as you're told. Change his grade now. It's not like he will ever need the stuff you teach anyway." "Sorry, I'll help him after school with his work if you'd like, but I'm not changing his grade with no work." "Listen, change his grade now or we will tell everyone you've been trying to sexually assault him." It was at this point that she must have realized her truly epic mistake. This was my school email, and all of them are archived and can be seen by the public with a simple request. Because before I could even reply to that one, I got this. "And just so you know, my husband is a professional hacker for the government, and these emails will all be gone in minutes. Change the grade or else." So I took my stack of newly printed emails down to the boss just like a few minutes ago. Can't wait to see what happens next. So this was posted about a week ago, and just recently OP added an update. Okay, so I feel like I'm living in the Twilight Zone. After school, I got the expected call from admin to come in for a meeting. Much of this meeting took place without me, but essentially they rounded up entitled kid and asked him, point blank, if I'd ever sexually assaulted or harassed him. Entitled kid said, "No, she'd never do anything like that." So then they showed him a copy of his mom's email, and I guess he turned very pale. He said that after he got home, he told his mom he couldn't play in the game. She told him not to worry and that she'd take care of it. Entitled kid was suspended 2 days and can't play until all missing work is in. Now, as for entitled mom, they couldn't get a hold of her, so they called dad. Dad, not military or government or hacker, is actually a mild-mannered accountant. Dad said entitled mom called him from the road and told him she was probably going to be arrested and not to tell anyone where she was. My principal relayed this info all while trying very hard not to laugh. School resource officer asked if I wanted to press charges. I said no. End of story. Not very climactic, but oh well. Hope entitled kid gets his mom home soon. Hope dad gets her some mental health help. Can you imagine sitting at work and you get a call from your from your stuck up wife who says she's on the road fleeing police because she tried to set up one of your kids' teachers for false sexual harassment? I know we literally just did this in a previous video, but let's get an F in the chat for this poor husband. That was r/entitled parents, and in an earlier video, I told people that I would shout out someone who gave the most choosing beggariest response imaginable. And I think I found a winner. Wow, I can't believe you've done this. That galaxy that you use as your background contains Earth, and as I am a resident of Earth, that background is a photo of me. I will sue you for copyright infringement of my face, but I'll make an exception and let you off if you give me a shout out. Arpita Ratan, please don't sue me. I'm getting enough trouble as it is with demonetization, so I really can't handle your totally legitimate lawsuit. Please accept this shout out as a humble apology. Welcome to r/ProRevenge, where OP destroys a man's business, bank account, and his family. Back when I was still in university, I used to work for a hotel to make ends meet. When I started, the hotel very urgently needed new personnel. So I cut a deal with the old owner about getting to choose and pick shifts so I could visit my courses and exams. Speaking some extra foreign languages, I also got a little bonus each month on top. The old owner was a great guy. He owned multiple hotels, so I rarely saw him. But when he was in the house, he always made a point to have drinks with the staff. And if we were free, he even invited those at the front desk to fancy restaurants who were not on shift. Fast forward. I had worked in the hotel for a few years now and was nearing the completion of my studies. So it wouldn't have been an eternity until I had to quit anyway, as I was, of course, more interested to work in my field of study. As part of my deal with the old owner, I mostly chose to work night shifts, allowing me to visit my courses at university during the day. To make up for my privileges, I'd picked up the habit of doing some extra work in the dead of night other shifts would normally have to do, when I could have sat around and stared at the walls. People were grateful for the help in the beginning, and we became a rather tight-knit group, but over time, people rotated in and out. When the old owner retired and his butthole of a son took over the business as the new owner, I already feared the worst. The new owner didn't like me very much. I never found out the exact reason for that one. I was at that point nearly the sole veteran left from when I started. Among the tasks I had taken on was doing light clerical tasks to ease the manager's job in the morning. For that, I generally had to use the manager's network account. One night, while doing my lists, I logged into the manager's account and emailed to do my job. Then, I saw an email with my name in the subject line. I know it's not nice to snoop, but of course, I read it. Turns out, the new owner wanted to get rid of me. I still had my old employee contract with the bonuses for foreign language abilities and was allowed by my contract to pick and choose shifts. I can only assume these privileges are what made the new owner hate me. no idea if he had other reasons. Because, to be honest, these seem very weak to me. But he couldn't fire me without cause. On top of that, I would be owed severance if fired. And generally, there were not enough bodies in the shift rotation without me. Though the new owner didn't seem to understand that point, as the emails told me. I looked for more emails concerning me and found them. There was an email chain between some of the employees, the manager, and the new owner. I was, of course, not CC'd, as I was the hated topic. The employees didn't like me hogging the night shifts, because those paid better, and for every night you worked, you got paid the night bonus. The manager was the only one rather neutral on the matter, and just curbed their enthusiasm to get rid of me, as they needed me to be fully staffed. The new owner and my colleagues actively conspired to make a hostile work environment so I would quit of my own volition. I was furious. I thought about a variety of reactions, from egging their cars to burning down the hotel. But I settled on a less crazy method of revenge. I called my uncle at 2 a.m. asking for advice. My uncle is a lawyer, so for sake of proof, I forwarded myself all the emails. I made photos, printed them out, made copies, and filmed the whole deal just to be sure. My uncle told me to sit tight and see if things got worse, or if it was just bluster. And so I gave it a few days, and things did take a turn. Snide remarks about my looks, clothing, and so on were only the tip of the iceberg. Some of my colleagues were just as professional as before, but the conspirators always left extra work for me or pawned the sucky duties they normally had to do on me. I always kept a spare shirt and suit at work just to have a change, which suddenly disappeared. One guy even started to threaten me with violence, but I kept clenching my butt cheeks. I wouldn't give them the satisfaction of saving on the severance or giving in. I'm a big boy after all. I did, however, stop doing any extra work I was not obligated to do, which, in the end, was the reason they used to fire me. They still had to pay me severance. The next day, my uncle, with bundled proof of the email and all documented harassment by my colleagues, served the hotel my lawsuit. It started with wrongful termination and ended with harassment. Reportedly, the manager went white as a sheet when he realized where the emails must have come from. The new owner had been on vacation and had to cancel his expensive vacation in France to deal with this. Their counsel advised them to settle. So I accepted my severance and a hefty bonus on top. Enough money to last me until the end of university without work. But that was not all my revenge. I had gone after the new owner's money, but in the next step, I went after the hotel. I had used all the spare time during night shifts alone to document every last violation of city, county, district, state, and federal law I could find. That went from minor things like some harmless mold under the kitchen sink to substantial violations like modifications to the building. The building was under a limited form of historical protection by federal law on the grounds of being built and inhabited by somewhat important historical figures a few hundred years back. So every renovation or change in floor plans needs to be signed off on by a committee, which can take ages. There's also a grant paid to the new owner by the government for keeping the building intact as is. So with my uncle's help, I sent documentation of every violation I could find to the corresponding agency. In 1 month, everything from health, building code, fire safety to the finance and work police crawled over the hotel. In the end, it was the building and fire inspectors that shut the place down. The new owner had done substantial renovations to the top floor luxury apartments, which he used when he was in town. So the new owner had to pay back the grant, pay fines for unauthorized alterations to the building, endangering his guests because something wasn't built right according to fire code, and had to close down shop until the building